Looking west over the North Wales main line, where the track begins to bend to the right, approximately the point of that signal, our line, which would have been over here in the trees, would have started to turn away to the left, just a bit further on from the end of Junction shed, which is hidden behind these trees. Over there in the trees beyond the signal, on the left, would have been a considerably sized marshalling yard dealing with freight and all sorts. And turning back to our line, which branched off to the left, it would have then moved towards Broughton and Bretton station. I'm on the southern side of Saltney Ferry bridge, and in front of us are the remains of Junction shed, which we looked at in the last part. Now I'm here as it's a good place to point out the route of the line towards Broughton and Bretton station, and all you need to do is follow the tree line, which heads leftwards as I'm pointing, where our track bed now lies as we head deeper into Wales. Now where the trees end are some buildings, and these are the Airbus factory at Broughton. Our line skirted these factories all the way until it disappears out of view behind those trees over there, which almost takes us to Broughton and Bretton station. And this whole area is given better credence with an overhead view. Looking at the 1899 map on National Library of Scotland, Saltney Ferry station is here in the top right corner, along with its associated yards and sidings. Here is Junction, with our line branching away to the southwest. The modern view still allows a good view of the route, which we'll put in here. Alas, there is no access across these fields from the east, while to the west lies Broughton Airbus factory and Harden Airport, which also bars access for obvious reasons. Therefore, our next port of call is down here at the bottom left of the screen, which is the next station on the line, that of Broughton and Bretton. I'm walking along the very busy A5104, which runs through Broughton, and this is what remains of Broughton and Bretton station. Obviously the platforms have disappeared, maybe still there beneath the tarmac, but as you can see the buildings are still fully intact, complete with the small waiting shelter. Today they belong to a veterinary practice. Now we've very kindly been given permission to film in the vet's car park, and here on the former upside and Chester-bound platform the waiting shelter still stands and is in very good condition. On the downside, the platform from Mould and Denbigh, all that appears to be missing is the platform canopy, which would have fitted in the recess. Opened in August 1849 along with the line, the station began life as Broughton. It was renamed in 1861 by the London and North Western Railway to Broughton Hall to represent the nearby country house, which was demolished in the early 1970s. A third name change occurred in 1908 to that of Broughton and Bretton, which it carried until closure. The nearby Airbus factory opened in 1939, producing famous aircraft such as the Vickers Wellington and the Avro Lancaster for the war effort. The station was essential for allowing the factory's workers to get to and from work. In fact, After the station closed in 1962, trains continued to run between Chester and Broughton and Bretton to provide a service for these employees. This also ceased in September of the next year. Now, when the railway was here, so was the road, albeit in a much more minor capacity. Therefore, a level crossing also existed with its subsequent signal box. After passing over the road, the line entered this small area of wasteland, the trackbed of which is still in there. Okay, so I've crossed over this short piece of wasteland. The white building you can see there is Broughton and Bretton station, and the trackbed, this line of trees coming through here, crosses the wasteland. In there is a very low embankment. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, we cannot get in there, and even if I could, it's, you know, it's probably cut yourself to pieces, which I'm not averse to. The trackbed emerges here and it crosses the road. So let's get to this point here. Let's cross the road. Strangely devoid of cars when I wanted it to be. And we climb up this short bank. This is all newly engineered or recently engineered. Our line would have gone through here. This is now a large retail park. The building in front of us, that's a pub, and our line would have cut through the very corner of it. I don't know if you can see it properly. Let's move through here. So our line would have cut through the corner of that pub and through Tim Hortons. You can see the tops of some trees over there, and that is where our line re-emerges. So we're now clear of Broughton Retail Park. That's over there. And I found something, done quite a bit of research on this, and I didn't know it was here. Our line is coming through these trees. It's down in a cutting, but here, this is what I didn't know was here, is a bridge. Possibly because it's completely covered by trees and you can't see it on the overhead maps, but it's clear to see. And if we look down here, there is our trackbed. Let's move more central. So there's a big tree in the way. So that's our line, our trackbed, going off in that direction towards Chester. And then if we go to the other side of the bridge, obviously it's been filled in, we've got a new road there, but we've got some more trees on the other side of the road, which shows a bit of potential. So I've come down onto the former trackbed, or almost. It's still a bit raised down here, and here's our bridge. Look at that, isn't that a cracker? Unfortunately you can't get under it, but I'm going to have a look down there. Try not to sting myself to death, which would be a first. So there's not a lot to see. It's fenced off obviously, but at least you get an idea of the trackbed going back towards Chester. And then it's all built up here and goes into those trees the other side of Tony and the road. So after leaving that brilliant bridge that we saw, I don't know if you can see it, it's very hard to see through the trees, but it's just the other side of the road there. I've stumbled upon this very, very short piece of trackbed, and it is very short, but we're heading west now towards Kinnerton station and the English-Welsh border. I've had a good look round and there's not anything to see, but at least it shows that a very short stretch of the trackbed still does exist. I think it's been converted into like a dog walkers area, but this is pretty much where it ends, and in front of me is a housing estate, and our line used to go through there. Let's return to the overhead view again to get an idea of where we are. This is modern Broughton. The bridge which used to carry Church Road over the line is here, while the very short stretch of track bed can be found here. Now, despite the route being completely built over, the alignment is still strangely easily discernible through the housing estate, thanks largely to it being built up with trees and bushes. So let's now add the line heading southwest. The major road towards the bottom of the screen running horizontally is the A55 main road to Anglesey. This was built after the line's closure, so there was never a need for the railway to cross the road or vice versa. Directly south of the A55 is where the track bed re-emerges, and it's here that we'll rejoin the action. Well, I've got out of the hustle and bustle of Broughton. I've come over the A55, that's the road you can see, you may be able to see the cars there. And I'm now south of the A55 and I've managed to access a small part of track bed. Not that it's that easy to see. If I lift the camera up a bit, you may get a better view. Well, what we're looking at is the track bed as it came south towards Kinnerton station. We've got a hedge there, a lot of these white plants in the middle, so you can it's quite easily to discern, but unfortunately it's not accessible. If we turn south, it seems we have a bit of a footpath that goes along the track bed, so I'm going to take that and see where it goes and see what we can find on the way. Well, I've noticed as I walk along this narrow footpath, and it must be due to the railway being here, that showing through the mud is quite a bit of what looks like ballast. We've got a load more here, look. So that could be a good reminder of the railway. So our footpath widens a little here. We've still got many instances of ballast embedded in the mud. As we go along, you can see some more right there at my feet. But what we have here, which is new, some concrete posts, and they must surely be original from when the railway was here. Probably date around the 50s or 60s, maybe even earlier. And we've seen instances of those on other railways all around the country, and look, you got one there, there's one missing there, but one there, one there, one there. There's loads of them, all lichen encrusted. So still heading south, and there's quite a few things to see here. We've got more concrete fence posts, loads of them going along. We've got a lot of ballast now. Ballast is actually getting more and more as I walk along. Now we've got fence posts, concrete ones on this side. However, they're not, the distance between the two from there to there, if I stand back, it's not that wide. I thought this might have been a double track line, but maybe right here it was single track. So the path tends to take a bit of a bend round. Oh, there we've got some concrete in there. What on earth could that be? Look, we've got a metal, that's going up in the tree, and a railing. Hang on, there's another one there. Could this be a small bridge? Yes, look, there's another one on the other side. And I do say, I think I can hear running water as well. It's pretty dense vegetation. As you've got another, oh yeah, and see the bar going across. Yeah, look, here we go, look, why didn't I look here? This is a bridge, so we should find another concrete parapet or abutment end, hopefully. Well, it's pretty, I think You're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but I'm certain it's in there. So look, yeah, we got a bridge. Ew, look at that sky. Before I explore the bridge, I'm going to refer to the map once more, because this is now the second bridge that I've come across that I wasn't expecting to find. Firstly, though, I was interested to see that I'd crossed, albeit briefly, back into England at this point, before just a few hundred yards later I returned to Wales again, at the exact point of the bridge I've just come across, which obviously forms the border. Now, regarding the bridge, if I take us back to the map of 1899 and then zoom in, well, it clearly shows our bridge. So another oversight on my behalf, albeit a serendipitous one. Now, there's a bit of a gap there. Can I get in it? And the answer is possibly, but it may hurt. Nettles, ow, and brambles, ow. Just look at this bit of, I mean, and oh, look at that. Let's see if I can scramble down, because how am I going to do this? It's got to be worth it. Let's go here. Oh, look at this. This is a find and a half. Look at this. Right, keep. Well, there's the water. Oh, look at that. So we've got a 2-3 arch bridge. It's not in the greatest of repair. Look at a bit crumbly there. I've disturbed a couple of ducks. And then our water. Let's walk through. That is going to take some beating as a find. And there we see the other side, which is in a bit better repair. I would have walked straight past this had I not noticed that concrete parapet sticking out. Unfortunately, this is, I can't get further away to take a shot because of all of that. Brilliant. Now, it may not appear as such, but I'm actually walking between the platforms, or where the platforms were, of our next station on the line, that being Kinnerton. Over there would have been the up platform, or Chester bound. On that side, the down or mould bound platforms. Now, at first glance, it doesn't look as though there's anything to see. But if you notice, we've got what appears to be higher ground on, well, both sides, immediately either side of this today's footpath. And if you look, I mean, it's heavily nettled and brambled, and there's no way that I'm going in there, particularly with my track record. But you can see it's a lot higher than where I'm stood at the moment. Over the back, on the other side of these brambles, this higher bit, would have been a siding. That would have come off a little bit further back there, about 2 telegraph poles back, and it would have come around the back, and it would have ended in those trees in front of me. Now, Kinnerton station opened in 1891, approximately 42 years after the line here opened, and it would have served the 2 villages of Kinnerton. We've got Lower Kinnerton, which is over there, and we've got Higher Kinnerton, which is over there. And I believe Lower Kinnerton is in Cheshire, England, and Higher Kinnerton is in Flintshire in Wales. Now, the road that we've got in front of us wasn't there when the railway was in operation, so our platforms would have extended
across where the road is today and into those bushes, and the road when the station was here would have been in the bushes. It looped into the bushes there, dropped down underneath the railway, and then went back up. And it's probably easier to show where the original road layout was if we look on an overhead view.
For the overhead view this time, I'm using LiDAR finder, and here we're looking at the site of Kinnerton station. Our direction of travel is from the north. Now let's add the track, then the position of the platforms, and finally the original road layout. This should now show the layout with much more clarity. Now, despite nothing remaining of the station itself, I was curious as to what, if anything, may remain of the former roadway. As the group of trees and bushes remain in the correct alignment with the former road, it's possible that something may be identifiable. Turning to the LiDAR image, and straight away it appears to show that the sunken road still exists to some degree within those trees and bushes.
This is the east side of Kinnerton station. Our line would have come through this field, crossed about where the cyclist is now. And I've come here to try and see if there's any evidence of that original road layout, which used to go under the railway line. And this lay-by here is the exact point of where that road used to go through there into those bushes. Now on the LiDAR map there is no evidence of the bridge, but there is evidence, looking at the LiDAR map, of the road dip and the subsequent embankment, which will be just a few yards up there. And I've noticed that there's a bit of a gap in the trees here, so let's try and get in here. Right, that's job done there. Now this is the original road here. So I'm standing on the original road, and it would have skirted the edge of the tree. So if I follow, it should start dipping. It should start dipping. There's the edge there, but there's no sign that it's dropping at all. So what does that mean? Well, it means it could have been filled in. This is the right spot, and unfortunately I seem to have come to a bit of a dead end as well, and there's still no sign up there of our road dropping. I'm in the right place, I know I am, because we got the edge here. Let's try the other side, on the western side, and see if there's any evidence there. This is the western side of where the station site is. There's the station site by that concrete and the car and the pole. You can see that more the line, the electricity lines more or less follow the railway route. It's crossover. So our road, where it turns towards me, would have continued straight on through the trees. And here is the point where it would have continued. Unfortunately, we've got a fence this side. But if I just pop the camera through so you can see some trees there, that's the route. And in fact, I can see it's dipping already. It's very much dipping down there. And this fence is going to prevent any access. But if you look, you've got a very clear drop down there. So that is our original road surface. We've got a cutting and it's going through there. It's a shame I can't get into there, although it's pretty nettled up. So it was probably filled in on the other side, on the eastern side, whereas this side is an absolute definite drop, and that would go to the station site, and then an embankment would take the line south. And obviously that's where passengers would have been dropped off by car. And if you was on pedestrian, or if you was a pedestrian, you'd take the same route. And I believe that there were steps going up to the platforms from that sunken road.